You know that feeling when you walk into a shopping center food court and immediately question every life choice that led you there. There are sticky tables, crying toddlers, and one guy in high-vis eating a soggy burrito like it's his last meal. There's a juice bar with no actual fruit, and the unmistakable scent of burnt coffee, fried oil, and AC that hasn't been cleaned since 2012. It's like stepping into a time warp where nothing changes, except everything keeps getting a little more sad. Not long ago, food courts were the pulse of retail life. It was noisy, packed, and the smell of garlic bread and cinnamon scrolls were clashing with teriyaki and soy. You'd stop for a Boost juice. Your mum would sit down with a cappuccino and a newspaper, and you'd sneak an extra chocolate chip muffin while she wasn't looking. But now, it's a graveyard. Sushi chains are mostly gone. Gloria Jean's has downsized, and Donut King is clinging to life by a single sticky cinnamon swirl. And yet, somehow, one name keeps popping up. One logo that refuses to die. One brand that still appears, glowing softly next to a shuttered Baker's Delight and a boarded-up Target. Muffin Break. Wait, really? The place with scones, flat whites, and banana bread wrapped in cling film? That's still around? Yep, still standing, still brewing, still baking muffins that taste exactly like 2006. Which raises the obvious question, how? How does Muffin Break keep going when every other food court cafe has crumbled? The truth is interesting, if not a little uncomfortable, because Muffin Break survived by turning muffins into a real estate strategy. Let's rewind. Long before online shopping took over, Australia's shopping centres were the place to be, especially in the 90s and early 2000s. Going to the shops was something you looked forward to all week. Teenagers hung out there after school, families made a day of it, Christmas was chaotic, and in the middle of it all was the food court. You'd grab a kebab, a froyo, maybe a slice of pizza that had been under a heat lamp since breakfast. Back then, food courts were stacked. You had Gloria Jean's, Michelle's Patisserie, Sumo Salad, Mrs. Fields, Donut King, and Subway. Every shopping centre had its regular lineup, and tucked into the corner was a Muffin Break. Their promise was simple: caffeine, sugar, salt, and a clean place to sit. Food courts always had people coming, as long as the shops were bringing in customers. With anchor tenants like Myer and David Jones pulling in foot traffic, department stores attracting crowds, there was never a shortage of people in the shops, and that rising tide lifted everyone, even the cafes selling oversized muffins with a free loyalty card on the side. Until it didn't. As online shopping took over and consumer habits changed, the shopping centre started to crack. Foot traffic dropped and department stores downsized, all while rent kept climbing, wages rose, and suddenly, food courts started to feel like ghost towns. Michelle's collapsed, Donut King faded, Hudson's Coffee and Gloria Jean's shrank. But Muffin Break? It's still there, still open and still slinging banana bread with a loyalty card and a smile. So again, how? What's the secret? Well, franchising. They franchised their stores. Well, actually, while franchising was a factor, it's not the full answer. Plenty of franchises failed in the same time period. The real reason Muffin Break survived is that they stopped thinking like a hospitality business and started thinking like a property game. Let me explain. Muffin Break is owned by a company called Foodco. It's a franchisor, like Retail Food Group or Craveable Brands, but with a sharper, more controlled approach. They don't just run Muffin Break, they also own Jamaica Blue, a sister brand you'll find in hospital foyers, airports, and the quieter corners of shopping centers. Foodco has been around since the late 80s and has grown into one of Australia's biggest franchise networks in the food retail space. According to their own site, they've launched hundreds of stores across Australia, New Zealand, and even into markets like the UAE and Malaysia. But what really sets Foodco apart is the system. They've fine-tuned a model that prioritizes expansion and occupancy over long-term store viability. The underlying play is to get into shopping centers, fill space, and make sure someone else is carrying the financial risk. But here's the twist. When you sign on as a Muffin Break franchisee, you take on almost all the risk. You sign the lease, you pay for the fit-out, you buy the equipment, the coffee beans, the packaging, all from Foodco-approved suppliers. And whether your store makes money or not, you pay fees. Franchise fees, marketing levies, royalties, all flowing upward. This, of course, is how your usual franchise works. The brand minimizes their risks while increasing their profitability. But it gets smarter. In some cases, Food Co. reportedly signs the lease themselves and then subleases it to the franchisee at a premium. So now, they're collecting franchise fees and rent margin. They're the middleman between the shopping center and the person making the coffee. This model gives them incredible flexibility. Landlords love them because they fill space. Franchisees still sign up because the brand looks safe. And Food Co. sits in the middle, collecting fees and dodging the fallout when stores collapse. In fact, the business doesn't rely on stores succeeding long term. It relies on constant churn. Someone opens a store, pays the fees, works hard. Maybe it survives, maybe not. If it fails, someone else takes it over, often with Food Co.'s help, and the cycle continues. It's like a rented flat. The landlord doesn't care who lives there, as long as someone's paying the rent. So while other brands try to build loyalty, community, and innovation, Muffin Break focuses on being a plug-and-play retail filler. Their customer isn't just the person buying coffee, it's the shopping center itself. And in the retail apocalypse, that made them incredibly useful. In 2018, the Parliamentary Joint Committee on Franchising opened an inquiry into Australia's $180 billion franchise sector, and what came out was brutal. One former Jamaica Blue franchisee told the committee that the system was impossible to achieve, claiming they worked 7 days a week, paid themselves nothing, and still couldn't break even. In their submission, they wrote, "Failure of a franchise is more profitable for Food Co. than the success of the franchise." Others described similar struggles, from mounting debt to deteriorating mental health, with some alleging that Food Co. opened new Muffin Break stores dangerously close to their own, cannibalizing their sales. The inquiry's final report, released in 2019, backed these concerns. It detailed how franchisees were often locked into long-term leases with limited exit options. If a store failed, the franchisor could claim damages, leaving the franchisee bankrupt while protecting its own bottom line. Trade press also picked up on the scrutiny, reporting how Food Co. was under fire during hearings and faced serious allegations about how it handled store openings and franchise viability. So where does that leave us? Well, Muffin Break is still here, still in your local Westfield, still handing out loyalty cards and heating up banana bread. But don't mistake survival for success. It didn't outlast its rivals because it had better coffee, or because it adapted faster. It survived because it monetized collapse. It turned empty retail into revenue. It turned cafe dreams into franchise fees. It built a system where failure at the bottom still meant profit at the top. And in a world where foot traffic is vanishing, retail is under pressure, and small business dreams are being fed into the grinder, Muffin Break is what's left behind. Not because it won, but because it never had to. So what do you think? Have you ever worked at a Muffin Break? Did you run one? Or maybe you were a regular, grabbing your flat white and slice of banana bread without ever thinking about what was going on behind the counter. Was it a hidden gem, or a brand that stuck around for all the wrong reasons? Drop your memories or your hot takes in the comments. We'd love to hear your side of the story. And if you enjoyed this story, give us a thumbs up, hit subscribe, and don't forget to ring that bell so you never miss out on more deep dives like this. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, stay curious.